Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergog, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at Jircniv's biggest mistake and how this oversight could have led to him being controlled or at the very least influenced by the Theocracy of Slane. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel and say my thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's start with the topic at hand. Emperor Jircniv has succeeded in consolidating the power of his state into his very own person. The once mighty, influential, and competing noble houses are now mere shadows of their former selves, reduced to impoverished, out-of-touch former rulers, desperately clinging to their old status and lifestyle. Politically, they have either been completely sidelined, or, as in the case of Count Femal, kept as pawns, maintained in their position until they might become useful. The army of the Empire, the legions of Baharut, have been reformed and strengthened, and now they are completely loyal to the Emperor. The temples were also brought into the fold, and only broke with Jircniv after Ein Solgon's cunning display of obliviousness in the arena of Arvintar. Furthermore, Emperor Jircniv has good relationships with Yanjia, the assassin order from which Tia and Tina hail. In war, things appear to be going good as well. The kingdom of Riestais was weakened by the many wars waged or rather declared by the Empire, suffering from the economic consequences of troop mobilization and the lack of workers during harvest time, every single consecutive year. The self-inflicted succession dispute between Barbaro and Zanek also deeply divided the nobility, and a civil war was looming. Additionally, the Empire was able to sway one of the king's loyal nobles to its own side, making Marquis Bloom Rouge a valuable ally who provided critical information about the inner workings and machinations of the court and its king. Among other things, he also provided insight into the brilliant laws Princess Renna proposed, somehow always at the most inconvenient of times. Laws so well thought out that the Empire felt compelled to adopt them almost immediately. However, there was a significant flaw in Jircniv's plan, one that arose long before Ein Solgon appeared, and that would have severely disrupted his path to success and make the long-term control of the kingdom difficult. The Katze Plains. In the world of Overlord, places with much death and suffering accumulate significant amounts of negative energy, which eventually will give rise to the undead. And even the weakest undead can, through their power or magical strength, eliminate living beings and thus increase the negative energy around him. Moreover, their mere presence can lead to the emergence of even more powerful undead, creating a self-reinforcing process, similar to the orcs in Warhammer 40k, who bring forth ever more powerful and competent leaders, with ever greater numbers. These places of negative energy in Overlord progresses from zombies and skeletons to being dominated by liches and death knights. Since the battles between the kingdom and the Empire took place every single time on this very plane, each conflict generated a vast amount of negative energy, causing the plane to increase, and to increasingly take on their current and very large form. The problem became so severe that both sides, enemies in war, agreed to retrieve and bury their dead, praying for them, in order to lessen this energy build-up, and the cemetery of Ivantel alone occupies a quarter of the city's outer ring, and it is built like a fortress against the spawning undead. In other words, it needs to be defended from the things within. Nonetheless, the Katze Plains continues to grow, and seemingly has even developed a consciousness of its very own. Once a year the mist that usually envelops the Katze Plains lifts for the annual battle between the two nations, as if the plane themselves is inviting the undead to join their ranks. This concentration of the undead and the negative energy has even resulted in the emergence of a Death Knight and the appearance of a ghost ship patrolling these very plains. Currently, adventurers and mercenaries are paid to keep the undead in check and at bay. Emperor Jircniv, however, is reluctant to conquer the kingdom of Riestais until Fluder Paradine has found a way to deal with this plane or make the undead that are spawning in it useful as a workforce for the Empire. In other words, these planes are blocking and complicating the conquest of the kingdom. And even if the kingdom were to surrender tomorrow, the Empire would be left dealing with an undead-infested region in the very middle of its territory, at a crucial crossroad at that. And I can personally imagine that the Theocracy of Slane, who remember also aided the Empire by, for example, trying to assassinate Gazef Stronov, might have anticipated the problems Emperor Jircniv would face, or rather cause with his war of attrition, and therefore saw an opportunity to gain significant influence and leverage over Jircniv by offering their help in dealing with the plane. I mean, the Theocracy of Slane had reacted very positively to Emperor Jircniv's rise, viewing him as a competent ruler who would advance humanity. That's also practically why they wanted him to conquer the kingdom and its resource-rich land, which had been neglected by the incompetent leadership there, and still has much untapped potential. They also aimed to induct him into the greater secrets of this world, if he would prove useful. And had the kingdom been conquered, and had the Black Scripture, religious fanatics who couldn't be bribed or bought, who are willing to die for their cause, dealt with the crime syndicate known as the Eight Fingers, Jircniv would have been left without a significant external political opponent. I mean, relationships with Arkland would have been good, partially due to the influence of the Theocracy, who was interested in a stable border between humanity and the mighty Dragonauts of Arkland, something they themselves could not guarantee, since their own zealous population would have started to attack Arkland on its very own if the two nations would share a border. The dwarves pose no threat to Jircniv, and the Quagoa and Frost Dragons were focused on their small-scale war with the Ice Giants. And while the Forest of Top was dangerous, adventurers had managed to keep it in check. This left only the East, the besieged Dragon Kingdom, and the potential threat that its fall would pose to humanity. And therefore Jircniv, thanks in part to the geopolitical situation alone, would become an important ally to the Theocracy, and the Theocracy would achieve what it always wanted from the kingdom, turning it, under the leadership of the Empire, into a secure bastion for humanity, where it could flourish, multiply and thrive, all in exchange for helping in dealing with the Katze Plains. And I also touched on something similar in my very own theory series about Eins, starting in the New World at level 1. So that's the issue with the Katze Plains, why it is such a problem, and how Slane could have profited from it, if it were not for the appearance of Eins Overlord. And with that said, now it's your turn. What are your thoughts about the plane, Jircniv's failure to close it, Fluder's attempt to utilize it, and the opportunity the Theocracy of Slane could have seized in order to influence Jircniv by aiding in the closure of this very wound? Let me know it down in the comment section. And while you type, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Other Daddy Other, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Bizarre, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Din Pep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Le Louche Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loftrazor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Oh Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Cune Caracos P, Shangox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenukai, and Sonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.